is prohibited in the theater. If you should need to use the restroom during the performance, we ask that you exit and re-enter through the rear doors of the theater. And now, please welcome our Master of Ceremonies, Dr. Cheryl Needle-Cohn, Professor of Education, University of Central Florida, and resident of Summit, Maine.
Thank you and good evening. If you haven't got a sense of our community yet, please continue to mingle during the intermission. But I've got to tell you how blessed I feel to be your MC this night at such an incredible event. This is not only an aesthetically beautiful community to live in, but it is a very caring community, and our residents reflect that in the evening that you're going to partake in, and I hope already you've had an opportunity to enjoy yourself. There's a lot more coming. So welcome again and good evening. Tonight is destined to be a very special evening. We all touched in some way by cancer. We know friends, relatives, neighbors, waiting for a cure, or for whom a cure may come too late. Tonight's tribute to Anthony Newley, to benefit the Lake County chapter of the American Cancer Society, will raise much needed funds for research, treatment, and prevention of cancer. As the song says, tonight we will laugh a little, cry a little, cry a little, and that's the story of love. That's actually as close as I can get to karaoke and a kazoo tonight, without it throwing me out. But seriously, as a college professor, words and relationships are very important to me. Here are some key words that will help you define our American Cancer Society benefit for this evening: caring, love, devotion, pain, joy, music, pride, sharing, family, friends, community, and interwoven lives. Keep these words in mind as you hear our speakers this evening, mingle with our Summit Greens community, and enjoy our tribute to a wonderful performer who lived here in Florida and died from cancer, Mr. Anthony Newley. First on business of the evening, as our announcer, whose phone number I'd like at the end of the evening, please, should remind you, please use the rear exits back there, should you have to exit for any reason. Your ticket stubs have numbers on them. We'll be using the last 3 digits on those numbers for your door prizes later. Raffles, silent auction will all continue all through the evening and will be announced periodically at intermission and at the conclusion of the night. Sales of tickets, again, silent auction will continue, and due to the generosity of Miss Barbara Streisand, the auction also includes, if you haven't seen it yet, an autographed album of Barbara Streisand's music featuring the music of Anthony Newley and his creative associate, Leslie Brickus. So we thank Barbara for sending that. I can call her Barbara. Okay. This spring, hey, New Yorkers, you know, bags. This spring, that is the spring of 2003, Oberon Books will publish a book called Stop the World, the biography of Anthony Newley by Garth Bardsley. Mr. Bardsley took the time to send me a personal note via an email, and he excerpted parts of the book as well as some personal statements. I'd like your indulgence as I read some of them right now. He inhabited his music because his music was him. Watching him perform was like entering a private space. Sacha Newley once said, he was a master of public solitude. Powerful words. Lewis Gilbert said of Newley, Tony was kind of near genius. Your life is much more complicated when you have that kind of talent, and you're bound to make some big mistakes. The genius of Anthony Newley? Perhaps. Unique? Most certainly. But how should this most talented of men be remembered? As a singer, actor, writer, composer, director? Tony himself was clear. I think the most beautiful thing that can happen to anyone is to be remembered by their music. Music is pure love. To have your music played is to live again in the space of a few bars. So when I've had it, they can forget everything else. Just write on my tombstone, he wrote good songs. Have a fabulous evening. Best wishes, Garth Bardsley. Having a son that's a musician and a lyricist, those words were very powerful for me as well. Being a professor, I'm going to use a professorial technique and share some research with you. I'd like to share my thoughts, research on some work I pieced together that I've entitled Newley and Meyer, Morphed Biographies, Interwoven Lives. Biographical information about Mr. Newley and Mr. Meyer appear in your programs. Shortly, you will hear from Mr. Newley's family about his very interesting life in a way that only a son, daughter, and loving friend can convey. Remember I asked you to keep that list of words in mind? Well, we're now going to explore the concept of interwoven lives. There won't be a test, it's okay. In 1965, as a student at James Monroe High School in New York City, I had the opportunity to travel with friends on the subway from the Bronx to Manhattan to see a play on Broadway. The advisor of our theater and literary club secured student rate tickets for a musical at the Shubert Theater. The musical was The Roar of the Grease Paint, The Smell of the Crowd. I have with me tonight a copy, not the copy, the original playbill. When I was going to a James Monroe High School reunion a few years ago, my sister sent me my yearbook, which I just tucked away, moved here to Summit Green. When we were planning this benefit, something triggered in my mind. I remembered seeing Tony Newley on Broadway. Sure enough, in the back of my senior yearbook, all these years later, I found this, the playbill. So it's in better shape than me still. So that was my first encounter with Tony Newley. On a parenthetical note, I must add, I was able to chat a little with Anthony Newley's son, Sacha, last night, and much to my joy and dismay, I discovered that while I was fighting my way out of James Monroe High School, Bronx, New York, for my senior year, he was fighting his way out of the womb of Joan, as in Collins, and actually was being born in the fall of '65. So we're both fighters, evidently. But, I don't know, it didn't seem that many years in retrospect. Edmund Meyer, like myself, was also born in the Bronx, New York. Like Anthony Newley, Ed was an only child. I wondered why Ed cared so much, not only about his idol, Tony Newley, but also about raising funds for cancer. Ed's mom died of cancer at what now appears to be a very young age, 56. His dad survived with cancer to age 79. We all experience loss in various ways. Mr. Newley lost his parents when they were financially forced during the war in Europe to give him into foster care. Fate has strange turns in the road of life. His foster dad was a theatrical performer who influenced Tony's love of the theater and music. Ed Meyer pursued a theatrical career, but behind the scenes, working as a media technician for many years for NBC in New York City. Ed first heard of Anthony Newley in the late 60s during a rehearsal of The Tonight Show. Ed saw Tony preparing for the show and was immediately hooked. He followed Tony's career, literally following him from New York to Las Vegas to Florida. In 1995, only 8 short years ago, Mr. Newley appeared at Walt Disney World's Epcot American Gardens Theater, home of the very talented Voices of Liberty. Ed Meyer currently works for the entertainment division of Walt Disney World at Epcot. Interwoven lives. I'd like to take a moment to recognize Ed's former wife, Sherry, who I understand and her mom could not be with us tonight. but I would like to acknowledge their support of Ed's work over these years. Ed's son and daughter, Rhett and Janelle, also could not, as I know, be with us tonight unless they entered late. But we do wish Vera, Sherry's mom, well. She took a fall, and otherwise they would have been here this evening. So we thank them and again wish them well. Both Ed and Tony found wonderful love relations, fathered children, divorced, found love again, yet remained connected and friends with their former spouses. Why can't I cast away this mask of play and live my life? Why can't I fall in love like any other man? And maybe then I'll know what kind of fool I am. These words remain one of Ed's favorite and very powerful song lyrics from the musical Stomp the World, written by Anthony Newley and his creative associate Leslie Brickus. Interwoven Lives. It is now my sincere pleasure to, before I do that, wait, back up, take two. If you're trying to keep score with this Interwoven Live theme, let me assist you. Ed and Sherry Meyer produced a son and daughter, Rhett and Janelle. Joan Collins and Anthony Newley produced a son and daughter, Sacha and Tara. Anthony Newley and Dareth Dunn produced, you guessed, a son and daughter, Christopher and Shelby. I would like you to join me in a warm Summit Greens welcome to Dareth Dunn Newley and Christopher, Shelby, Sacha, and his wife Angela, and Tony's very dear friend, Gina Fratini. Why don't you just stand up here? It is absolutely incredible that they have taken time to be here with us this evening, and I hope you had a chance to mingle with them during the cocktail hour. It is now my sincere pleasure to introduce Tony and Dareth's daughter to say a few words to you. Please help me welcome Miss Shelby Newley.
For those of you that don't know Dad's music, and maybe are here as friends of someone that knew his stuff, I just want to share with you the type of man that he was for me as a dad. He wove magic for us in our lives, and yes, of course, we were his biggest fans as well. He would sing to us at home, and we'd see him on the stage, but every day he would say, "I love you today." And it wasn't a morbid thought, but it was, you never know what's going to happen, he'd say. You never know if you cross the street, what could happen. We lived with that love every single day. Not desperate, but passionate and true and daily. I've never known not being loved in my lifetime. And not just from my father, from my amazing mother, Dareth, as well. That was unconditional in our family. Dad would also say, you choose your parents. He was a fan of Zen Buddhism, which is a Jewish Zen Buddhism. And he would say that, it's some amorphous blob wherever we were. He was a very spiritual man. That we choose our parents. Oh my God, I got lucky. I picked a couple of winners, both my mother and my father. Grounded us. They taught us that we could do whatever we want. I climb mountains pretty much for a living. That's my passion. And it's not crazy to them that I do it. They don't necessarily understand why. But that's okay. They were still behind us totally, 100%, whatever we decided to do. He was a special man. He taught me a lot about being a woman. Of course, my mother did as well. But he loved women so much in all the right ways, I understood. And not to, maybe to a fault, but we were imbued with that sense of femininity through Dad as well. He wasn't afraid to talk to me as a daughter when I was 4 and say, how are babies born? He sat me down in his lap and drew pictures and everything. And there's never been mystery in my life, I know. He was a special man. And yes, a lot of that carried over into his music, as you could all tell. My gosh, I miss that voice, I miss that talent. I was also very blessed to work with Dad for 4 years on Scrooge in England. And I was a sound engineer for 4 years with him. And that was a pretty special experience as a daughter to work with her father in any respect, but to be behind a desk and to hear that magnificent voice night after night after night. We grew to have a very respectful relationship, maybe not just a father and a daughter, but also as a man and a woman, and cohorts in the business. So I was been very lucky to have had the time that I had with my father and the quality that we shared. So I want to thank you all again for being here. Cancer may have taken this performer's life and this talent, and this father and husband and mother and friend, and countless others, who have been touched by cancer. But I hope it's not the cancer that we remember, and rather the people, the survivors of cancer, and the patients that really, how do we say this, fight through this hideous disease. Thank you for your good taste in music and your generosity to benefit cancer research. Can't say enough thank yous. Hope to meet more of your faces after this amazing evening. And now I'd like to introduce to you an angel not only in my father's life here on earth, but now also in mine, Miss Gina Fratini.
Thank you so much, Shelby, and all the wonderful and to Ed for getting this show together. It's simply wonderful. I know how hard he worked and has worked for the last over 3 years at least to show his appreciation and love and admiration. My beloved Tony. Thank you all. I first met and fell only a long, long time ago. I think it's over 45 years. In fact, can't believe it. And I loved him from that day to this. This is quite hard. We were together for a few years when we were very young, and it was gloriously wonderful. And we were all starting our careers, and he went on to all know such great and wonderful things, and with great and wonderful. I went on with my career, sadly we separated, but we had things to do. Life is like that. It takes its own course. But fate had plans for us, obviously. And it took 25 years. But we finally met up again. And I guess this time when we met, it was the right time. It was the right time in our lives. We lived through his amazing career, which I followed, of course. And there's always this, like a little precious safe in my heart. It was always there for him, always. So when we met this time, we actually realized that we were meant to be together. Everything just fell into place. Life is like that, in fact. Things come at the right time, and they're meant to be. And we were meant to be. We had nearly 7 wonderful years together, far too short, but so precious, so wonderful, and just perfect in every way, apart from this dreadful illness. But I can safely say we both suffered through. To see one's loved one going through this cancer, I can't even talk about it, but I'm sure lots of you will know somebody or been through it yourselves. And I do appreciate everyone that's come here to benefit this and try and raise the money for this awful disease. Anyway, I'm not very good at business. Anyway, 3.5 years ago, well, it's nearly 4 years now, my role just fell apart when Tony left us. But thankfully, for us all, we are blessed with his magical music and endless tapes and films and recordings of his great and huge talent. And above all, we have his 4 wonderful children. 3 of whom are here. Darling Shelby, who we just had to speak so beautifully. Sacha, who we'll get to hear later, magical Sacha. And Joan and Chris, who have a huge talent. And we're excited on his journey. Our Mary Barbara's heart is with us. I know she can't be here, she has a little baby. And wasn't difficult for me because one piece just came straight up in front of me, on the street. And so I had no hesitation but to choose this excerpt. It's from an Ed Sullivan show, and it's turning before me, who can I turn to from the world of those things? It is awesome, and to me it embodies just about all of Tony's magical talents. Thank you.
Some must go and destiny lead.
I now have a huge and enormous pleasure to introduce Tony's eldest son, the magical
Wow, this is extraordinary. First of all, Shelby's words and Gina's words are so beautiful. Followed by that clip. I'm already clipped. Anyway, Ed Meyer has made this evening possible, and his conviction that it had to happen was the driving force that brought all of us together in this room and created this sacred moment that we're sharing. So Ed, God bless you. And all of the people who have volunteered, the technical people who have come into this and are making this happen, bless you. And of course the wonderful people of Summer Queens. This is really a wonderful place. My wife and I took a look around yesterday and were giving serious thought to early retirement. Really, I mean, you guys are just partying all the time. Golf, swimming, it's my time. You're in for a treat this evening. I had the good fortune to see Ed yesterday going through his paces, and he's spooky. I mean, spooky good. But if you could just hold off from a standing ovation, you might save him a major identity crisis. But my sister Tara couldn't be here this evening, and nor could my mother, but they both wanted me to remember them and to forward to you their good wishes and, of course, their great love for Dad. When Ed asked me to say something this evening, I got to thinking about it, and my wife and I recently sat down and watched my father as the Artful Dodger in Oliver Twist, that incredible performance he gives at the age of 14. And I began to think about my father's relationship to Dickens and how his career really ends and begins with Dickens, from the Artful Dodger to Ebenezer Scrooge. And so it's very odd because he was very fond of saying that he had a Dickensian childhood, in the sense that it was a dark and convoluted and dramatic childhood. He was born like Oliver Twist, in a workhouse. He never knew his father. He grew up feeling like the black sheep, the outsider, and eventually he would explore the other side of these feelings, which is that the outsider is often the hero. It didn't take long for Dickens to come calling in my father's life. As I say, at the age of 14, he was cast as the Artful Dodger in David Lean's film version of Oliver Twist. And his childhood experience of the dark London streets came vividly to life in his depiction of the young rogue, all furtive glances and strutting Cockney insolence. Of Lean's resurrection, he remembered little except that the great man had asked him to shove a walnut up his nose to disfigure his face. But Dickens had shown that a person's history was their fate. You couldn't shake where you came from. And so when it came time for my father to write a one-man show with his collaborator Leslie Brickus, he chose to present his entire life in mime and song. The clown little chap takes us through every chapter of his story, from office tea boy to Conservative MP. And all throughout, he's haunted by basic themes. How to open an angry heart to love, his yearning for a lost father, and his desire to be a father himself. Dad would have to wait until the mid-70s for another run-in with Dickens. In The Old Curiosity Shop, a film of Dickens' short novel by the same name, he plays Quilp, a debauched old scoundrel in love with the story's heroine, Little Nell. Here's the Artful Dodger all grown up. Dad reprises all the tics and mannerisms, but this time he provides a brilliant score, full of memorable lines like, I'm Quilp, Quilp, coggier than a spaniel, I'm so bloomin' crooked, I have to screw on my socks. But it was with Scrooge, probably Dickens' most powerful and memorable character, that my father finally found the perfect vehicle for his obsessions. How can a life be redeemed? What would you have to do to a wicked man to make him good? Or to put it another way, how did little Tony Newley, the poor, illegitimate son of London's East End, become the universal Newley we know and love? The man who could stand on stage and stop the world, build mountains, and soar like an eagle. Now, if Frank Sinatra did it his way, with a swaggering confidence that never allowed for doubt, my father in his work makes doubt a passion. He looks in the mirror and sees the joker in himself, the fool, the clown with a painted face. And only when he survived that encounter can he wipe away the grease paint and be his truer, more divine self. When it came to my father's battle with cancer, he approached it in the same spirit. He would look this thing in the eye, he would see through his mask of pain and cast it away. In other words, in his beautiful, majestic way, he looked upon his illness as an invitation to self-discovery. But cancer, as we all know, doesn't respond always to good intentions. And even with all the powers that medical science brought to bear, it's still a formidable opponent. From my father's first diagnosis to his death, he battled cancer for 14 years. Throughout his sickness, it was his habit to go on long solitary walks, shaking his fist at the heaven and throwing the illness back in Destiny's face. Twice he managed it, but when the sickness returned for the third time, there was no denying the need for a miracle. I flew to Florida, sensing that this would be the last time I would see him. And we sat together on the balcony, and I sketched him, looking out to sea. He was working on some songs for a show about Dick Whittington. It was amazing that even in the face of death, his creative talent was still fired up by the prospect of work. On the night before I left, I went into his room and embraced him. His body was swollen with the sickness and swollen with feeling. It was like embracing an enormous heart. At his funeral, I read these words: "Cancer is stupid. It dies in the body it kills. But you, Dad, And so, with his portrayal of Scrooge, my father came full circle. He took the Artful Dodger by the hand and showed him what a future without love looked like, and the Dodger repented and drank the milk of human kindness, and the sun came out, and everything was made good. Anthony Newley was always beginning again, putting the bad behind him, being reborn on his own terms. As his son, I can attest to his powers of giving, and we are all in this room tonight to acknowledge that his gift reached all of us.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we look back and pay tribute to Anthony Newley, whose versatile talent spanned more than 50 years in show business. In 1977, Anthony Newley won the title of the Las Vegas Musical Star of the Year, competing competing for the title was Neil Sedaka, Paul Anka, Wayne Newton, Sammy Davis Jr., and Frank Sinatra. It is quite apparent why this unique talent won this prestigious award. Anthony Newley was not just a singer-songwriter, but a powerful theatrical performer who was able to take the audience on a musical journey and make the music and lyrics of his compositions come to life. Tonight, we would like you to imagine that you are in Las Vegas in the late 1970s. A 40-piece orchestra is starting to tune out as one of the greatest theatrical performers is ready to take the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, Ed Meyer's tribute to Anthony Newley.
Good evening, ladies and germs, and welcome to a night of magic. Mr. Conductor, raise your arm, please. Here comes the last great white entertainer. That once-in-a-lifetime experience, Mr. Anthony Newley. Why can't I This evening, I shall be singing you songs composed mostly by my dear self and my colleague, Mr. Leslie Brickers. I used to sing songs by other composers, but they never sang any of mine, so screw them. And so this evening, Newley sings Newley. And although Les wrote me some lovely songs in the film, the song I really thought was smashing was the song that Rex Harrison sang in the movie. He sang it to me, actually. And he turned to me and he said, Matthew, guys called Matthew, Matthew, if I could talk to the animals, just imagine chatting with a chimp in chimpanzee. Imagine talking to a tiger, chatting with a cheetah. What a neat achievement that would be. If I could talk to the animals, learn their languages, maybe take the animals to people. I'd study elephant and eagle, buffalo and beetle, alligator, guinea pig and flea. I would converse in polar bear and python, and I would curse in fluent kangaroo. If people ask me again to speak rhinoceros, I say rhinoceros, not you. If I conferred with our furry friends, man to animal, it would be amazing repartee. If I could walk with the animals, talk with the animals, run, squeak and squawk with the animals, and they talk to me. If I consulted with quadrupeds, think what fun we had, asking over crocodiles for tea, or maybe lunch with 2 or 3 lions, walruses and sea lions. What a lovely place the world would be. I'd learn to speak in Mandarin and Turtle. My Pekingese would be extremely good. If I were asked to sing in hippopotamus, I'd sing with Thomas. And then I would. And if we all spoke like animals who need English, gradually we drop it with no fuss. If I could walk with those animals, talk with those animals, bark and squeak and squawk with those animals, and they can speak and talk and squeak and squawk. Just once in a lifetime, a man knows a moment, one wonderful moment, when fate takes his hand, and this is my moment. My once in a lifetime, when I can explore a new and exciting land. Yes, sweet friends, it really was a new and exciting land the first time I sang that lovely song on a Broadway stage. The year was 1963. The place was the Schubert Theatre on New York's 45th Street, and the show was Stop the World, I Want to Get Off. Thank you so much. Written by my colleague Leslie Richards. What a night that was. I had the hit song from the show was What Kind of Fool, and I had already sung this lovely song for a year on the London stage, and here I was on Broadway about to sing it for another year. But oddly enough, my record of What Kind of Fool I was not the hit. It was recorded by our good friend Mr. Sammy Davis Jr. and almost overnight Sam sold 1 million copies. Sammy Davis Jr. Same thing happened in 1965 with our next show. The roar of the grease paint, the smell of the Schwartz. Hit song. Who can I turn to? I sang this lovely song for 9 months. And along came Mr. Tony Bennett. Big Tone recorded it, and 1 million Italians bought that record. I said to my partner Brigus, I'm getting sick and tired of writing hit songs for black guys and Italians. But if you see Tony, he still sings his lovely stuff. And quite rightly so, because he had the hit with it. But you know, I have a parental feeling about this lovely song. Just night after night. At the end of that one, I would get down on my little skinny cockney knees. I would look up at God and say, who can I turn to when nobody needs me? My heart wants to know, and so I must go where destiny leads me. With no star to guide me, and no one beside me. I'll go on my way, and after the day, the darkness will hide me. Maybe I'll find what I'm after. I'll throw off my sorrow, beg, steal or borrow my share of laughter. With you I could learn to. With you on a new day. But who can I turn to if you turn away? With no star to guide me, and no one beside me, I'll go on my way, and after the day, the darkness will hide me. And maybe tomorrow I'll find what I'm after. I'll throw off my sorrow, then steal, borrow my share of laughter. Mr. Brickers and I were asked to write the music for a movie called Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Thank you so much. And we were so sure that this lovely song would be the hit from the score. Its title was Pure Imagination. The hit song from the film was another song recorded by guess who? Sammy Davis Jr. And boy, would he have a hit with this one. Take a sunrise, sprinkle it with dew. Now we get the joy and the miracle of the candy man. Oh, the candy man. The candy man and musician. The love makes the world taste good. The candy man makes every makes satisfying and delicious. Talk about your child wishes. You can even eat the dishes. Pay attention now. Celebrate the sorrow and collect a whole ring. The candy man. The candy man. The candy man can't proceed. He must forget all you. And the world tastes good. Cause the candy man lives here. Need I tell you how many copies of that goddamn song he sold? Not a million, sir. My darling friends, you're saying yes, Newley, but this is all in the past. What about today? seems to me, has somehow lost her way. How could the dream that seemed so right go wrong? I'd like to sing for you tonight the words inside my heart. They form a sort of patriotic song. Say something good about America, ring out that liberty bell. Whether your address is Main Street or Broadway, say American dream. There was almost an innocence and naivety about that dream that the founding fathers had. Because although the Declaration of Independence was forged in blood, the pen that wrote it was dipped in hope. It said in effect, this is possible, but only if you had a way to work for it and suffer for it. Yes, and it needs to be died for it. Well, you made it work, America. It still takes guts. The kind of guts that millions of average Americans show every day of the week. Say something good about America. You don't realize how lucky you are to be in America. Get on a plane to America, visit Europe. Go and see the glories of France, the treasures of Italy, and the splendor that was once old England. And when you've had enough of castles and palaces and kings and queens and monuments and statues, get on that plane and get back here quick. Because if everything's so wonderful over there, how come everybody's fighting to get over here? Say something good about America. Get all that gloom off your chest. Look around the world and you'll understand why. From Bombay to Shanghai, America's best. Shout it out loud, you're Yankee Doodle proud. About the old U.S. all land. The land of the free, where freedom began. If you can't make it work, America, tell me who can. What about the future? Well, it seems to me, dear friends, that this lovely country is beset by a sea of troubles, and yet, in a world where machines can now think, it seems to me that Americans are free to dream new dreams. But we need leadership. Where are today's Abe Lincoln, today's Thomas Jefferson, today's George Washington, Robertson, Gephardt, Dole, Dukakis? Just when America needs Superman, they offer us the seven dwarfs. The tragic story, my darlings, is that no great man wants the job anymore. President George Bush, there's an exciting thought. Like watching paint dry. President Jesse Jackson, well, there's an innovation. Breakdancing on the White House lawn. Mr. T is ambassador to Moscow. Soul food on Nancy's New China. Michael Jackson is Secretary of the Treasury. Why not? It's all his goddamn money anyway. No, I'm being facetious. What this great country needs now is a president who understands the complexities of Congress, a man who can walk through the Senate and gain respect, a man who has possibly walked and perhaps worked with presidents and understands the danger as well as the glamour of the White House. A man who can talk to China, a man who can talk to Russia, a man who understands South America, God knows. A man who can talk to the world. A man with a cunning who will let nothing stand in his way. My God, I have just described Richard Nixon. Strike up the band
And don't forget to get your raffle tickets and make a bid on our silent auction located in the main lobby. Proceeds will benefit the American Cancer Society.
Hey, did anyone get that guy's number? It's still waiting. Okay, alrighty. I just think that was my food prize for tonight. Okay, all right, is everyone having a most wonderful time? Incredible. Continue to buy. Red tickets will be announced at the conclusion of the show. I mean, the very conclusion when we say goodnight. We'll be reconvening in the lobby, and Hank will be announcing the red ticket winners and the results of the silent auction. So don't run out. If you're part of that group, we want you to make sure you get what you either bid on or what your number reveals. So don't just dash out for home in your jam. Stay around. All right, raffle and silent auction winners, again, announced in the lobby after the show. Many thanks for all of you for your support so far this evening. Special thanks to our celebrities and families who contributed to tonight's success. I was amiss earlier in not recognizing its cousins who are joining us this evening, and some very, very dear and special friends who have traveled quite a distance and known Ed for many years. So thank you so much for being with us this evening. At the end of the show, we'll have some more thank yous, not only to our extraordinary performer, but for all those who contributed to tonight's success. I am very proud to announce some estimated totals of what has been raised so far this evening. People, again, are still bidding, we're still accepting donations. We know that there are checks that are still coming in to both Summit Green and American Cancer Society, and will continue coming in until February. At that point, we will post the results, and certainly I'm sure it'll be on the TV website as well. But we'll have final results for you in February. So keep those checks coming in, please. All right, now I need a drum roll. Where are you? Oh my God. Oh, that was wonderful. I didn't think it really happened. Thank you, Ty. Okay, we have, as of this moment, exceeded the following total: $6,000. The American Cancer Society continues, and MEYER'S Tribute to Anthony Newley, Act 2, will begin again.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Anthony Newley.
He said to us, you know, you really need a new song. So we wrote Sam a song. It's a song
dedicated to women, and it is entitled Life is a Woman. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I had the privilege of writing the music for that. The lyrics were written by my partner, Mr. Brickus, and he's just beautiful. But then, what do I know? Now, ladies and gentlemen, my good friend Mr. Alan Keaton called me and said, Newley, I'd like you to write me a song. And I said, well, what's the occasion? He said, well, I'm doing a television show about comedians. Would you write me a song about comics? So I wrote what in fact was the first kind of story song I'd ever written. And I wrote it on my own, and it was kind of strange not to be in the same room with Mr. Brickus. I'd like to sing it for you now, so we can and I dedicated as I do every performance to those lovable fruitcakes, the comedians.
Look around you, Mr. Clown. You're drowning in your dream. A sea of strangers, each one reaching out for you. Make us laugh, Mr. Fun. Fame at last, Mr. Fun. Could the love you crave be waiting in some woman's heart? Or must you spend these endless nights alone among the crowd, bowing for their laughter in the dark? Wiping off the custard pie that life just loves to throw. Knowing when the audience goes home that you will be all alone. Look at me, I'm the funny man. Have you ever heard such clever stuff before? Applauded Time magazine, he's the laughter machine. I'm the man. You killed them at the palace, and you threw them in LA. The waiters at the deli know it all by heart. Make us laugh, Mr. Funny. Fear death, die funny. Everyone's an audience, and life's a funny line. When the girl's sinking, you thinking of the day Mother gave you dancing shoes to shine. Pushed you on the stage and whispered, "Kid, you'll be alright." The spotlight had your eyes, but stirred the spark that burns out your heart. Look at me, I'm the funny man. And my home is any microphone that's free. Me with nerves of caffeine, I'm the laughter machine. I'm the man who makes you laugh. The monster with the 1,000 eyes is shouting to be fed. Get your head together for the second show. Make us laugh, Mr. Funny. Autograph, Mr. Funny. Here will drink your whiskey while you think of her embrace. Trying to forget her, her letter of goodbye stares as you repair your painted face. When did she discover that the spotlight was your eyes?
Ladies and gentlemen, the storyteller would like to thank you for your kindness. And, we'd like to finish, if we may, by singing you just a few songs that Mr. Brickers and I wish that we had written. I guess most of them would have been for the theatre, because, ladies and gentlemen, all the nice things that happened to my partner and I happened in the theatre. So let's sing you a few of those songs. We'd like to imagine, if you would, that you are in one of those theatres on one of those very special nights when one of these lovely songs was first born. So just let's pretend. We've entered the theatre, they tore our tickets, we took our seats. Suddenly, the house lights go down to half. The orchestra begins to tune up. Suddenly, the maestro steps to the podium and raps his baton for silence. And the overture begins. Here's a song, ladies and gentlemen, that Mr. Brickus and I did write, in which I had the rare privilege of singing practically every night of my life. What kind of fool it seems that I'm the only one that I have been thinking. What kind of man is this? An empty shell, only sandwich, an empty harmless word. What kind of lips
kind of clown? What do I know of life? Why can't I cast away this mask to play and live my life? Why can't I hold it
I haven't spoken all night. Talking about a dream come true. God, you people just, let's hear it for yourselves and celebrate. I really wasn't intending on talking tonight because really there's not much to say but appreciation to everybody here. I can't tell you the people that I've worked with for the past 7 months to put this together. And the last 2 nights were just incredible. I felt like it was a working machine in here. Everybody putting up lights, cooking in the kitchen, making your hors d'oeuvres. It was just like, I just can't say anything more than it's just wonderful. And to be honored by the Newley family here this evening. Let's hear it for this. The title of the show this evening was "I'll Begin Again," and that was really my intention. If tonight's response doesn't tell me that it is beginning again, I don't know what else to say. Thank you for supporting cancer tonight. Maybe someday we'll find a cure. I love you all, and have a great evening, and a safe trip home, and I hope you all win some prizes. God bless you. Another Sacha Newley show, and it'll be all some new material. So I hope you'll come back.
Okay, we're appearing next week in London. I hope you can make it. It's just overwhelming. Thank you is hardly the word I'm coming up with for Fred and what he pulled together tonight. Tonight certainly would not have been possible without the army of Summit Green volunteers, the committee members, the behind-the-scenes residents. One Saturday morning I came in at Fitzennis and found calligraphers in the art room working on the prizes. The prize patrol, the merchants, the sponsors, the corporate people from our community, the university, Lake Sumter Community College, it goes on and on. And Disney cast members. We have to thank Walt Disney World for lending us the equipment, lending us the Voices of Liberty, lending us the lighting and sound people. I mean, God bless you all. Thank you so much. It is now my pleasure to introduce the representatives from the Lake County American Cancer Society. If you will help me welcome Suzanne Pelcher and Barbara Miner, who will offer their special thanks as well.
Thank you very much. I can see nothing but the lights. Wow. I have been given the great task of saying thank you. The American Cancer Society, we're the Lake Sumter unit, will certainly benefit from what you have done here tonight in more ways than one. I'm humbled and awed by this entire show. To the family and to Ed and to Dr. Cohn. It's awesome. I have been given a great task to actually call the names of the volunteers and people who have put this on. And so I'm going to do that. We have certificates of appreciation for all of you. And I'm going to name these names. And if I miss any pronunciations, please forgive me. But I would like to recognize Barbara Myers, Ann Bernabo, Joan Seaman, Ray and Carol Reed, Sharon Preston, Susan Crosby, Marion Riley, Cheryl Neal Cohn, Linda Quirk, Jerry Gimborn, Jenny York, Jan Evans. This is like the entire neighborhood, I think. Steve Brown, Steve Hollier, Kevin McMahon, Tim Grable, Michelle Marzella, Ron Werner, Curtis Palumbo, Tom Heckel, David Elder, John Seitz, Rachel Cox, Tony Marinakos, I like that, I had to say it with Blair, Sheridan Giles, Tony Bullington, Joe Demeron, Ty Bailey, Tom Sherman, Kathy Sherman, Hank Lennon Cole, Brenda McLenahan, Gloria Siegel, Robert Houston, Patty Lutz, and Wes Howden. Thank you all very, very much. Please do not hesitate to give us a call. Summit Greens is familiar with how to reach us. And I'd like to introduce you to the chairperson for our American Cancer Society Relay for Life, who is going to invite you to our event this spring. She just has 2 sentences.
Thank you and welcome. Oh, this is so exciting. 6,000 or more, huh? Yes. No? No? Okay. So, all cancer has to do is to touch you once in a lifetime. For you to realize how dramatically your life can change. But with all this going on here tonight, who can I turn to but volunteers like you? And I invite all of you to attend our relay, April 25th and 26th at South Lake High School. Plan to bring your sleeping bag, but plan not to use it because it's an all-night affair. It starts around 4 o'clock in the afternoon and will end at 10 in the morning. And there are some people that don't sleep, and then there are those that do sleep.
3 hours.
I give her 3 hours. But there are those of us who try not to, but you don't have to stay all night. Bring your rocking chair, bring a chair, bring your sleeping bag with us. Please come and join us and join in the fun that we have. Thank you.
Thank you, Suzanne and Barbara, much appreciated. Okay, this is the point where you actually get to find out who the big winners are tonight. So, we're going to give you some exit music. And thank you all for coming tonight. If anyone was not thanked for whatever reason, please, it's an honest omission. See us afterwards. We'll be glad to hold this again next week so we can thank you. All right, seriously, if you'll exit to the lobby, you'll find out who the big prize winners tonight are. Thank you all from the bottom of my heart.